Has success got you physically and mentally exhausted? Do you often belittle yourself in your mind while others applaud and celebrate you? Have you lost self-respect? Find your mind crowded with shame and judgment? What I'm describing is emotional overwhelm. Welcome to What People Miss. This podcast is your sacred space for your softness, your pleasure, your joy. You deserve a sacred home to practice, pause, and self-nurture as a radical act, and to remember that you're allowed to choose joy and pleasure so that you can savor your life. Sit back and take some notes and listen for what you're discussing. Well, today, as you can see, I'm in studio with a guest.
Hi, my name is Ameenah. It's the first time here. It's nice to meet you all.
So, as you can see, I put Ameenah and Cordelia Gaffar. So Ameenah is my oldest of my 6 children. And if you're on my newsletter, you'll know that we've recently started a business together. So I have, after 11 years, closed Workout Around My Day Incorporated, and now have opened Cordelia Gaffar Enterprises LLC, which is doing business as the ultimate joy goddess. So today I want to continue this conversation that we've been having about healing. And so, as you all know, my marriage was tumultuous, and with Ameenah being the oldest, you know that she probably was privy to some of the tumult. And so post-divorce, there have been so many different levels of reconciliation, you know, with me and each of my individual children, and as well as their dad. So what do you think made the process what it was, you know?
As far as finally be able to find yourself and to leave?
No, I'm talking about for us.
Or healing process.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to talk about your personal part first,
that's fine.
You can. It's
Okay.
up to you.
Sure.
You know.
So my parents were divorcing whilst I was in the military, and that's a trauma in of itself. And so I was dealing with all the problems that come along with being in the Navy, along with also hearing about troubles back home. I think my biggest thing is I wanted to be home as a support system, and I couldn't do that. And then at the same time, I was having issues with my own chain of command and people in my division. So I guess you could say I was teetering and juggling between the two of those things happening. And I had come to some extreme lows in that time. Initially, I put on a brave face for the sake of supporting my family, supporting my mom, supporting my siblings. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. When I finally left, I left due to medical separation because I was dealing with suicidal ideation. And it took me some time to recuperate and become who I am today. So, because I had to learn how to let go of anger, have grace with myself, forgive myself, let go of shame, let go of internalized bias towards myself.
So let me slow you down and ask you some questions, right? Because like people may be listening and resonating, you know, like a lot of adult children experience their families having divorce in recent years. So you kind of skipped over some things that are major, like suicidal ideation, right? And that is something that many people struggle with for a number of reasons. But what would you say was the thing for you that helped you? Was it something that you chose? Was it something that we did as a family? Or like, is that even a thing you can get over?
Suicidal ideation? I mean, I guess it's really just a matter of like the mindset of the person with the ideation. Some people they heal from it. Other people, it's a reoccurring thing. Um, Unfortunately, there are times in which people are not strong enough against their inner demon, and it overcomes them, and they no longer walk the earth with us. And then there are other times in which it's a struggle every day. I think the thing that kind of helps me ground myself more than anything is remembering what's important. Um, I live to see the smiles on my sister's faces every day. I enjoy having conversations with my mom before and after work. Um, I also enjoy, taking the time to show her all my new gifts and my new talents and skills and the things I've learned, whether it's random facts or anything else of the sort. One thing that kind of helped me with my suicidal ideation was learning skills. I learned how to weld when I was 11. So there was always a desire I had for certain pieces of jewelry that just weren't on the market. And the things that came close to it, well, for one, weren't exactly within our range. And for two, were exclusive. So you'd have to travel to those countries to get it. So I preferred to reinvigorate my talent and the gifts I had learned when I was really young and put them into practice. And, it was trial and error. I had like a few slip ups and it was a little bit of a challenge learning how to bend the copper.
So wait a minute. Are you saying that it was a creative endeavor that helped you?
100%.
So you started making jewelry. So
Yes.
Is this like the jewelry that you have on? Is this
So
kind of...
yeah, actually, so this piece up here initially is from my grandmother.
Okay.
My late grandmother. Rest her soul. But these pieces I've added on, with the exception of this gem right here. These I've made myself. I've also made finger rings. I make rings as well. I've made earrings, for example.
And hair jewelry. Look.
So yeah, my mom's wearing some of the copper spirals I've created too.
And
So
one of the rings
with rose quartz and then black jasper and opal. So yeah.
For you,
Mm-hmm.
just I'm hearing many things. So like you tune back into your 11-year-old self. Like, what was it about being 11? Was that a happy moment for you, or like?
So there was already a level of pain I was dealing with as an 11-year-old, but some of my most exciting moments was when I was learning how to metalsmith and how to weld. And it kind of gave me a sense of identity that I didn't know I had before that age. And it gave me like a sense of power. And it inspired me to, I guess you could say, be a stand for myself.
Mm.
I realized that if I could do something that well at that young of an age, then there was really nothing I couldn't do.
Mm.
So I kind of went back to that self when I was younger. It's more full of hope. I saw the earth through, I wouldn't say rose-colored glasses, but I had a more positive perspective of things and of people. And I kind of wanted to reinvigorate that within myself. And so I figured I had to start by looking at myself in a positive way and appreciating myself and loving myself in a positive way. And going back to metalsmithing and welding. And then, of course, jewelry creation was a way of doing that. I've always kind of had like an affinity for creativity.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
So,
and I know that you never intended to do this publicly. You were just like, you wanted to
remain, I guess you could say, a social recluse, or more so like a private person.
Yeah, but mostly it was just like I'd wake up and you'd be like, "Oh, Mom, I knew you wanted to wear this outfit, so I made a set of earrings or a set of jewelry." And she would always make a necklace, And then, she'd make it for her sisters, even for her brothers, different necklaces and bracelets.
Yes.
And so I was encouraging her, to sell it. And she was just like, many, many reasons that she didn't want to sell it. So, like, what was the main reason?
I mean, I had a lot of hesitations initially. I think my biggest fear was wondering how it would be received initially. And then the second biggest fear was if I was adequate enough to even sell what I created. I also felt like, it still is a deep and sacred practice to me. Initially, when I first started, my intention was to keep it as a deep and sacred practice, and I guess you could say a hobby, but like a passion as well. But then I kind of like sat on my mom's statements and I kind of marinated. And I realized that there is a lot to be had from this. Whether it's business or building community, I figured we could do both.
Mm-hmm.
And so the right people, they will come and they will receive what's meant for them. And for those that it's not meant for, they're not going to be attracted to it. I think learning how to detach myself initially from the outcome was the biggest reason and the biggest push as to why I decided to begin.
Yeah.
So, because before I was so afraid of the social perception around it.
Hmm.
And I was like, is it going to look good? Does it match up? Is it going to seem professional? I had all these negative thoughts in my mind about it. So, yeah, I just really had to let that go and breathe through it. And here we are. So,
yeah, like, I like the part where you say you made it a practice, right? So it was, I'm hearing like it was a practice for you to express yourself through the art of your jewelry, and it was also a practice for you to, like, I don't know, pray and meditate sometimes.
100%. So, with every piece of jewelry I make, and even every one I've made before, I always sit with it, and I initially will either talk to Allah before making the jewelry, or whilst I'm making the jewelry, and then of course after. And I say a special prayer over every single piece of jewelry I make on purpose because it is that important to me. And I recognize that everything has its own vibration, its own frequency. And at the end of the day, everything comes from one source. And so, what better way to create something than to glorify the one source that is the reason for everything existing? And so, I really like to honor that. And I feel like the pieces I create are a representation of that. And I mean, it makes me feel fulfilled as a person. It makes me very happy. And I like to share that joy and happiness with other people if they're open to it. So, yeah.
Would you say now that you're making this jewelry and you're wearing it, that you savor life?
I would definitely say I savor life. I say that I enjoy it. It has its ups and downs, honestly, but I feel more confident. I feel happier. I feel like I can take a stand for myself and that I'm more firm with setting my boundaries. So, irregardless of the jewelry,
Right.
But, yeah, I do.
So, and also you've heard me use this word believing knowing, right?
I have.
Yeah. So I'm hearing when it came to sharing your jewelry with the world and that you could create something that people would actually value as much as you value it, you started believing knowing, right? So, and that's when you agreed with me that, we should do something together because I feel like, I feel many things. So first of all, right, I talk about joy bonding and I feel like we had to go through a process of creating that in our house, because it's one thing to stop having a hostile environment. And it's another thing to
feeling hostility within.
Right.
Yeah.
To not have that hostility within and keep projecting it on each other, right?
Right.
And so like it is like a practice daily with that,
Right.
And so now we have a total wellness solution where I do the somatic breathwork and movement and nutrition on the inside, and Ameenah encapsulate
the external. In addition to making jewelry, I've also developed formulas for skincare and hair care as well. So,
and if you've noticed, if you've been watching me, you'll see that I've been aging backwards thanks to Ameenah, because her beautiful skincare from the past 3-4 years, like literally one day I was putting on a serum and I was like, did you see that? Like my brow wrinkles went away.
Yeah.
So so like we heal together and we heal together,
Right.
So what better way to heal than to smile and laugh together and then help each other. We were one day when I came home from work, my legs were hurting really bad.
Yes.
And you and Muniba were massaging my feet and ankles, and you were noticing that different parts of my leg had different temperature.
Yes.
Right? And then you guys got my whole leg to be one temperature consistently. And even though I've used this word for years, intimacy intelligence, I was like, this is intimacy intelligence. We've stopped touching each other, even within our families, because we don't understand what is authentic touch, what is loving, intimate touch, and, separating intimacy from
sexuality.
Yeah, and it's
sexual connectivity. So intimacy, oftentimes, I feel like, although it does include sexuality and sexual connectivity, it's so much more than that. Intimacy is how you treat yourself, first and foremost, and then how you treat those you care about around you. There is platonic intimacy, there is romantic intimacy, there's familial intimacy. There's different categories of intimacy. So one thing that me and my sister were expressing, I guess, in this case, would have been familial intimacy, where we looked at the areas in which the issue had occurred.
Yeah, my circulation was off.
We had addressed the issue with the circulation by feeling around the fibers of the muscle, the difference of the skin, the difference of the bone, its orientation. And we realized there were some things that need to be reset, so to speak. So I had to
energetically and physically.
So I had taught my younger sister, Muniba, a few of the things I know about energetic healing, but also massage therapy. And she's very good at it. She's a very fast learner. And she implemented it very well.
Yeah.
So.
But, a lot of forms of massage people don't realize were practiced in families, right? So, for example, in Hawaii, the Lomi Lomi massage was a traditional massage that each family had their own iteration of, right? And so what we do in my family, and I remember growing up, I have to get one of my sisters on here, but we used to massage my mom's back, sometimes in her legs. Of course, she had kidney failure, so her circulation issues were a lot different than mine. But we would shampoo each other's hair. Like every Saturday, we would make up different facials. So the skincare thing came natural. You didn't know about that. And, that was real intimacy, and that is lost. So many of my contemporaries I talk to, and they're just like, I've never heard of that. That sounds like the Cosby Show, and but that's traditionally the way humans used to be. right? In our little clans around the world, we would be
connect with one another as a family. It was community, it was body language, it was family, and in a way it was telepathy. You didn't really have to say anything, you just knew.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all you needed was a look, a blink, or even to notice a certain movement, and you knew.
And silence, lots and lots of silence, right? Because that's like kind of how I found the title of the show with Mozart's quote, right? The music is not in the notes, but in the silence between them. And there's so much silence in life. And these days, we think of the silence because in the introduction, how I talk about is your mind crowded with thoughts. I'm boring her apparently. Like, so
no, I'm just a little tired.
when your mind is crowded, right? But it's not populating anything that is raising your energy. And so, how we heal together, though, is to be in silence and community with full presence. And so that's really what
we're implementing as an internal practice.
Yeah.
When it's something traditionally that's been practiced in our family for hundreds, if not thousands of years.
Yeah.
So
we're just going back to what the grandmas taught us, grandpas taught us, because, as far as at least 3 to 4 generations back on both sides of my family, the grandfathers and grandmothers were together, so it literally, this is like legacy. So I'm sharing our traditional wealth and wellness with the world. And so as you listen to what we shared today about how we heal together, take note of the individual acknowledging what is present for them, right? Ameenah started out with saying what personal pain she was going through, and then, what she did to empower herself. She went back to a moment in her life when she felt her most powerful and most happy, right? And she found that and expressed it through, number 3, through creativity. And then number 4, shared that with her sisters and brothers and mom and dad. And, even in our legal disconnection, we remain connected as a family. We do things together on high holidays and those kind of things. So this is how we can heal together. It doesn't have to be animosity that grows and just finds a new form of dysfunction.
Right. I think honestly that's the best part. Being cordial with people you had former disagreements with. And also forgiveness, which oftentimes is miscategorized as something that you are doing to let the person who did wrong to you off. Forgiveness is not about the other person, it's about yourself. I believe in justice first and foremost, and I believe that everyone that has done wrong for any reason towards anyone that was undeserved of the wrongness that was done unto them, the people who had committed those sins will receive exactly what's meant for them. So honestly, I just kind of leave it up to circumstance. I leave it up to God's will. And I go about my life. And I make a point of closing out people that don't belong in our sphere. So.
Yeah. So.
Was there anything that you would like to add about your own personal healing journey?
I would say what I want to add as it pertains to us, I feel like I've gone from feeling like I did a really, really bad job as a mom to just understanding that I didn't know what I didn't know. And I did what I could when I did, and now that I know all the things I do, I make a practice, to slow down and communicate as clear as I can. And if I can't, then I offer an alternative, right?
Right.
So, because it's more important to me that we help each other, and that we learn how to love each other better,
Yes.
Yeah, because like you said about forgiveness, if I don't forgive myself for thinking, that I did wrong to you before, then I'm punishing myself and I'm stopping myself from being present to actually do right by you now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I would be missing current opportunities to live well with you.
Right.
And so I just work on that every day with you and each of, you girls to the best of my ability. I screw up though, because, I'm human.
Yes. But no, the effort is visible. We can see that you're making changes slowly but surely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, baby steps, and I would say we've definitely come a long way from what it used to be. So, yeah, that's relief. Yes.
Yeah. And that was part of the reason why, like I always wanted this to be a family business. I know it doesn't look like it by the name but I just, it seems like it would be more appropriate for it to be Gaffar Enterprises, but I put the Cordelia there in recognition of my great grandmother, so I
Yes.
want that name to be part of the legacy. But as your little sisters grow up, I want them to join in with their gifts,
and if they don't, I'll still support them in their own endeavors as well.
I mean, the way, some of them are, we may have lawyers behind the scenes and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
they may not be like
right
front and center with their spirituality and those kind of offerings, but they, they have their own practices, and we very much do stick to our herbal and traditional practices around
Yes.
here. So yeah,
holistic health
and wellness.
Yes.
And so if I would add anything to those other four, I would say nutrition. The forms of nutrition that we don't look at as nutrition, like our emotions.
Right.
What
we feed the heart, the more negativity that we feed the heart, the worse the quality, the worse the health. And then it's reflected also in your being as well. Oftentimes people, often laugh off variations of evil, but you can see the evil in a person when you look at them. The way that you are in your heart is reflected in your physical form. So, there's a lot of people who will say they are something, and they will say that they're spiritually connected to God and so on and so forth. But then, and the ways of their beings, they're kind of hypocritical. Some of the stuff they say don't match up,
Yeah.
And then more than anything, just in their face, they have like this contention, like they're not at peace.
Yeah. I mean, wrinkles come from somewhere.
Yeah.
Think about it, because there's some days like when I get stuck in those negative loops, and I'll notice that I have this crease right here, or I'll have more of a defined line. Yeah.
My lines.
But when the lines go away, literally by me doing the opposite, just focusing on the things that put Ameenah to sleep, and that raise my vibration and give me joy and make, really remind me of what I'm grateful for.
Right.
And that's an easy one too,
Yes.
So,
and I mean, when you're happy, everyone else becomes happy. It raises the overall vibration.
Yeah.
So, like, you'll come downstairs in a good mood, and we would have been either neutral or kind of either antsy or annoyed, and then they see you, and then yay, we're excited. So,
And I want